default, Blender is split into 4 different areas by default. So here you have the 3D viewport. Here is the outliner. Here are the properties window, and here's the timeline down here. Now I'll explain what each one does. So one thing, every editor have this header at the top of it. You'll see it here as well, here as well. Same thing with the timeline. What you see afterwards is context dependent, meaning that depending what the editor is, the right side of it will change. However, they'll have this icon, which is, if you click on that here, this is the editor's type selector. And you could change, these are all the available editors that you could change this area to be. If you hover just over it, it will tell you the description of this editor. In this case, this is the 3D viewport. This is what's used to manipulate 3D objects in 3D environment. Here, this is the outliner. It's an overview of the scene graph and all the available data blocks. Here, you'll see this is a timeline. Timeline is for the timeline of the playback control. And here, this is the properties. So edit properties of active object and related data blocks. Another thing, if you click on it, it also tells you the shortcut to change that editor. So for example, if I click here, the editor type, and I could click outliner, it will change it to outliner. And it will stay synchronized. If I select something here, it selects it in the other outliner because it's the same thing, just different views of it. And I could go back to the 3D viewport by clicking on the editor type selector and go to 3D viewport. I also could not click here and just choose the hotkeys next to it. So Shift F9 will take me to the outliner, and Shift F5, this is for Windows, it will take me to the 3D viewport. So if I press Shift F9, take me to the outliner, and Shift F5 takes me back to the viewport. 3D viewport over here, hover over it, as mentioned. This is where you manipulate objects in 3D environment. So what that means, you could model, you could UV unwrap, you could texture, light, rig, animate, simulate, groom. The visualization and manipulating all this stuff happens in the 3D viewport here. Down here is a timeline. I could bring out the edge so you could see it. In the timeline, you have these transport controls. They're similar to a video editor. So you could play, you could pause it, you could play in reverse, pause it. This will click it all the way to the jump to the endpoint, the last frame that you see in the frame 255. Click to the jump to the first one. These are the jump to key frames. If I hover over it, it's like jump to a keyframe next, and this one's the previous one. A keyframe is when you're animating and you choose to save the values, and that will jump to that keyframe for it, which won't happen right now because we don't have anything animated. And this button, again, when it gets to animation, you'll see this is for auto key. So when you change a value in the properties that's different than what it was, it would automatically put a key, and then you could jump through it with that. There's also hotkeys. So if you hover over it, it will show you, like, spacebar is to play. So if you press spacebar, it will play it. Spacebar again will stop it. To play in reverse, if you hold Shift Control Spacebar on Windows, it will play in reverse. If you want to go to the end, you hold Shift and right arrow on your keyboard. It'll just go to the end. Shift and left arrow, as you see here, will go to the beginning. And keyframes over here, you have to press the up arrow and down arrow. It won't do anything because you don't have any keyframes at the moment. And it tells you on the bottom, no more keyframes to jump to in this direction here. And also, if you press the left and right button, the left and right key on your keyboard, you'll go one frame at a time. If I hold Shift and press left, it'll go back to the first frame. And over here, we have the outliner. Again, I could bring this out, or the shortcut to make any one of these areas take up the full screen. If you hold Control Spacebar to go in full screen, Control Spacebar goes back. So I'll do that for the outline area, Control Spacebar. So what we have here basically displays the objects in the scene, and they are organized in collections. Now, collections are a relatively new concept in Blender. Older versions of Blender did not have them. So now if you did scripting in older versions, sometimes it might not work or might not find objects because now they're organized in collections. Now, just a note, if you may have noticed when you open a Blender scene, you see these weird objects in here. Well, that's a camera. There's a cube in here, and then there's a light. So if I bring that down, that light, I can click in the viewport to select it as well. That's a light. Every time you open a new scene of Blender, you'll have these three objects: the camera, cube, light, and that comes into a collection here. And the other area, the properties area, the properties right here, this again, edit properties of active objects and related data blocks. So if I click on this object, let's say the camera, you'll see that the camera change and the properties for it, like the location, that's the position, rotation, scale. So that will change. If I click on cube, notice that these numbers will change because it's relative to what is selected. Same thing with the light. Also in the properties area, you have these tabs. If I hover over here, press Control Spacebar to maximize it, you'll see that it's broken up or categorized or organized into tabs over here, which we'll go over what they mean later on. Control Spacebar to go back. And again, if I just want to reset this, since I haven't done anything in the scene, I'll just go to File, New, General, Don't Save, and it will reset back to the default.
Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.